So this is the iPhone 13 Pro, and this isn't just some random phone I picked up for a review. This specific one, in this graphite color, has been with me since launch day back in 2021. It was my daily driver for years, went through countless updates, drops, trips, you name it. I mean, it's seen a lot. And then I switched over to the 15 Pro as my main phone, so this one has mostly been living on my desk for testing, some gaming, and, well, for videos, just like this one. But that brings up the big question. Now that it's 2025, 4 years after it launched, how does this iPhone hold in 2025? Is this phone still a smart buy, or if you have one, should you be looking to upgrade? In this video, we're going to cover everything. We'll talk about what made this iPhone so special when it launched, how much it costs now, and how many updates it has left. We'll see into the design, that beautiful ProMotion display, the performance, I've got the benchmarks, and of course the cameras. We'll also talk about the battery. This one's at 72% health and what that really means day to day. And we'll cover the big software questions, how it runs the latest iOS 26. And finally, we'll get into the stuff you really need to consider before buying one of these, including a pretty serious hardware issue you need to know about. Let's get into it. So what was the big deal with the 13 Pro back in 2021? I mean, it was a pretty significant leap. This was the first iPhone with ProMotion, that super smooth 120Hz adaptive display that makes everything just glide. The notch also got 20% smaller, which felt like a huge deal at the time. And the camera system got a massive upgrade with a new 3x telephoto lens, incredible low light performance, and for the first time a dedicated macro mode that was just mind-blowing. Plus, it introduced professional video formats like ProRes right on the phone, which was a game changer for creators. These were genuinely pro features that are honestly still very relevant today. But the biggest reason we're talking about this phone now is the price. Brand new. This thing was $1,000. Today in 2025, you can find refurbished or used models starting around $320 to $400 depending on the condition and storage. That's a massive drop for a phone that, as we'll see, still feels incredibly premium. Okay, but a cheap phone is useless if it's about to stop getting updates. So how long will Apple support the 13 Pro? Well, based on Apple's typical 6 to 7 year support window, the iPhone 13 Pro is expected to receive major iOS updates until at least 2027. That means you've likely got another 2, maybe 3 major iOS versions after the current iOS 26. For a phone at this price point, that's fantastic longevity. This phone really represents the peak of a certain era for Apple. It perfected the design before the switch to the dynamic island and USB-C. It's the last, and you could argue the best version of that classic notched Pro iPhone formula. So when you're choosing this phone, you're not just choosing an older device, you're choosing a different, fully matured design philosophy. But it's not perfect. The battery on any used model will be a concern. It's still stuck with the Lightning port, and there's a pretty scary hardware lottery with the screen that we'll talk about later. So let's break down what it's actually like to use this phone day to day. First up, the design. Holding this phone in 2025, it still feels incredibly premium. That surgical grade stainless steel frame has some serious heft to it. It weighs more than the newer titanium 15 or 16 Pro actually, but it feels solid, substantial. This graphite finish has held up really well, and the flat edges are still iconic. But the real star of the show even now is the display. This 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR display with ProMotion is, to this day, fantastic. The 120Hz adaptive refresh rate makes scrolling through social media or just navigating iOS feel buttery smooth. I mean, even compared to the latest iPhones, this screen absolutely holds its own. It's bright, the colors are amazing, and honestly, this is one of the biggest reasons to choose a 13 Pro over a standard non-Pro iPhone from the last couple of years, which are still stuck at a 60Hz refresh rate. Under the hood, we've got the A15 Bionic chip. Now, you might hear A15 and think it's old, but it's really not. For day-to-day stuff, this phone is still incredibly fast. Apps open instantly, swiping between them is fluid, there's mostly no stutter or lag. I ran Geekbench 6 on it, and it scored 2,417 on single core and 5,766 on multi-core. To put that in perspective, that's still competitive with many brand new mid-range Android phones that are coming out in 2025. And for gaming, I've been playing some pretty demanding titles on here, and it handles them surprisingly well on high settings. You might see a few dropped frames here and there on the absolute most intense games compared to, say, my 15 Pro with its A17 Pro chip, but it is still a very, very capable gaming machine. Okay, let's talk about the battery. This is where buying a 4-year-old phone gets tricky. As you can see, my battery health is at 72%. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's not great. On a day with moderate use, some scrolling, messages, maybe a bit of YouTube, I'm looking for a charger by mid-afternoon. It's definitely not an all-day phone anymore. Now, this is super important for anyone thinking of buying one. You should absolutely factor in the cost of a battery replacement. Apple or a reputable shop can do it, and it essentially gives the phone a new lease on life. A 13 Pro with a fresh battery can still be an all-day device for most people, just like it was when it was new. Don't buy one of these expecting great battery life out of the box. Assume you'll need to replace it. Finally, the cameras. This is where the 13 Pro I think still shines the brightest. You get that versatile triple camera system, a main wide, an ultra wide, and a 3x telephoto lens. In good lighting, the photos are still stunning, sharp, great colors, classic iPhone look. The main wide lens has a fast f1.5 aperture, so it's still excellent in low light. The ultra-wide lens doubles as an incredible macro camera, letting you get as close as 2 centimeters from your subject. It's a feature I still use all the time. And for the more serious creators, you still have Apple ProRAW for photos and ProRes for video. ProRAW gives you so much flexibility in editing, and while ProRes files are massive, like 6 gigabytes per minute in 4K, having that option for professional quality video on a phone this old is amazing. The camera system is without a doubt a huge reason this phone is still Pro. So what's it like running the latest software iOS 26 on this 4-year-old hardware? Honestly, it's been surprisingly great. I'm running the latest beta and it feels incredibly fluid. Apple has done a fantastic job with the new animations, this liquid glass stuff they're doing, and it makes older versions like iOS 18 feel, a bit dated in comparison. It's snappy, responsive, and it's a testament to how well Apple optimizes its software for older chips. But there is one massive new feature that the iPhone 13 Pro does not get: Apple Intelligence. Due to the hardware requirements, specifically the A17 Pro chip or newer, and at least 8 gigabytes of RAM, which this phone doesn't have, it's just not supported. So you won't get the new Siri, the writing tools, or the image generation built into the OS. And for me personally, that's not a deal breaker. And here's why. Apple Intelligence right now in 2025 is still pretty new, almost like a public beta. And honestly, I usually find myself using more powerful alternatives anyway, like ChatGPT or Gemini, which you can just download from the App Store. The hardware needed for Apple's on-device AI adds to the cost of newer phones. By sticking with the 13 Pro, you're essentially avoiding that Apple AI tax, if your needs are already met by these more powerful third-party tools. So while having the integrated AI is nice, I'm not really missing out on raw capability. If you're a power user of third-party AI, you can save a lot of money by getting a 13 Pro and just using the apps you already know and love. Okay, before you run to buy one, we need to have a serious talk about the biggest risk with this phone, the green screen of death. There are widespread reports on forums and YouTube about iPhone 13 Pro and Pro Max models suddenly developing a white, yellow, or green screen, making the phone completely unusable. It seems to be a hardware flaw that can pop up after a couple of years, sometimes triggered by a software update. Apple has reportedly been replacing some of these for free, even out of warranty, but it's not guaranteed. It's a hardware lottery, and you need to be aware that it's a real documented risk with this specific model. And this isn't just something I read online. It actually happened to my family member's iPhone 13 Pro. I actually made a whole video on it, which I'll link down below, where I go through some tricks I used to get it working again. But a fix isn't guaranteed. The second thing to consider is the Lightning port. In 2025, it just feels dated. Most of the tech world, including Apple's newer iPhones, has moved to USB-C. This means you'll still need to carry around a Lightning cable, and data transfer speeds are stuck at slow USB 2.0 speeds. If you're a creator moving large ProRes video files off your phone, this will be a painful bottleneck. So what else could you buy for around $400? In the Apple world, for about $60 more, you could find a refurbished iPhone 14 Pro, which gets you the dynamic island and a better camera. So after 4 years, is the iPhone 13 Pro still worth it? It's a complicated yes. For the potential buyer, if you're looking for the cheapest entry point into a truly pro iPhone experience and you understand the risks, then yes. You get a phenomenal 120Hz display and a top-tier camera system that still punches way above its price class, but you must budget for a battery replacement and be aware of the screen lottery. For you, it's a high-risk, high-reward value proposition. For the current user, if you're using a 13 Pro right now and the battery is still holding up, I see very little reason to upgrade unless you desperately need USB-C or the dynamic island. This phone is still a beast. Get the battery replaced and you can easily ride this out for another 2 or 3 years. It's still that good. For the potential upgrader from 13 Pro, if you're thinking of upgrading from this to, say, a 15 Pro or newer, the daily experience isn't a night and day difference. The newer phones are lighter, the USB-C port is a huge quality of life win for creators, and you get access to Apple Intelligence. If those specific things are worth hundreds of dollars to you, then go for it. But if they're not, you're not missing out on a revolutionary performance leap for everyday use. Ultimately, the iPhone 13 Pro has aged incredibly gracefully. It's a testament to what happens when Apple gets a design and feature set just right. But that's just my take after using this phone for 4 years. What do you guys think? Are you still rocking a 13 Pro in 2025? Are you thinking of buying one? Let me know your thoughts and experiences down in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. If you found this video helpful, a like and subscribe would be amazing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.